All right. So how much do you think consumerism influences your daily life? Are you aware of your buying habits and their impact on the environment and society? Stick with us today as we take a look into consumerism. Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to the Joy Without Justification podcast. We are your one-stop spot for finding peace, purpose, and presence. No explanation is needed. And so let me just ask you all, how can we create a society that values experiences and relationships over material possessions? I'm your host, Denny.
And I'm your co-host, Dan. And today's topic might hit close to home for a lot of us because it's something we both struggled with, consumerism and how it sneaks in to steal your joy. So, Denny, let's get into it. How did consumerism start showing up in your life as a joy thief?
Well, let's be frankly honest here, Dan. Not only did it affect our past, but it still affects us today. I wish I could stay off Amazon. But, no. Honestly, I really didn't notice it at first. I just was, buying stuff because I needed it. There was a time in my past with my first partner when we went to an Ollie's and we were going to buy a window fan in the windows of our mobile home that we lived in. And we really didn't have the money that day, but we knew payday was coming and we were going to go back for it.
Yeah.
When we did, it was gone.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have the fan anymore. So I just started buying because if you don't get it now, you may not be able to get it later. But then I started realizing that all this buying and everything wasn't really making me happy. It wasn't really meeting my needs. And like every other thing that we all end up buying at some point or another winds up just sooner or later sitting on a shelf and collecting dust.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really was a trap trying to lead me into a false joy. How about you?
Well, I've always been relatively decent with not buying a lot of stuff until Temu. Because it's just it's small little things and it's just a little knick-knack or it's just, this or that. And the next thing you know, you just got boxes everywhere because it's coming. And I think for me, because it was more impulse buy, and you think, oh, that's only a couple dollars, but it adds up, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, we both just need to stay off of online shopping for a good long time.
I think it's okay as long as you get a handle on it. So I'm always remembered something my mom taught me when I was a kid, and it always stuck with me through my adult life, was if you want something, wait at least 2 weeks before you buy it. So I'm kind of trying to push my mind back there, and I'm staying off the apps right now. But it can sneak up on you, especially when it's cheap. That's what's really, really kind of gets to you. When all those packages arrive and they feel like clutter instead of happiness, that's when it hits me.
And you also then catch yourself in that. And everybody, I'm sure everybody does it. No matter how much you don't think you're on there shopping, everybody at some point does it. When all those packages show up at your door and it's like, first of all, what did I buy?
Right.
And secondly, did I really buy all this?
Right. Yeah, when the delivery guy knows you by name, it's time to stop.
Address,
Yeah, it's time to slow down.
You don't even have to turn the porch light on, and they know to stop where your house is. Oh, my God.
But yeah, it's funny. So what do you think drives us to fall into this cycle?
Oh, there's many things that could drive us into this cycle. I think the big part is how we're conditioned to believe that happiness comes from, having more stuff. I mean, my parents were probably the big one. I mean, my mom more than my dad, but they were the big ones into feeling that the more stuff you had, the happier you were.
Yeah.
And the more stuff led people to think you had more money.
Yeah.
And if you had more money, well, that just raised your status like up to here and,
right.
Made you a moving target. And you never actually arrive at that target. You never actually arrive because all that spending, and you're not paying attention how fast it really can eat away at your bank account.
Absolutely.
And it's exhausting. Did you ever feel like you were chasing something?
Oh, yeah.
When you fell into it?
Yeah, I think for me it was, I guess it was more like feeling like I had everything together. And I guess my parents were upper middle class, not all the way up, but a little higher than middle. So I think I always felt like I wanted to do as good as them. And that's kind of led me into, buying stuff, because then I felt like I had arrived, I guess. But what I've learned is that joy doesn't come from what's, on the outside. It comes from how you feel on the inside. And it's not about the latest phone or a bigger TV. Denny, how did you start to break free from this mindset? Because I think in America we're conditioned to shop.
I think you answered that question for me because you break away totally the minute you realize that this thing, this item that you want to blow all this money on, it's nothing more than stuff.
Yeah.
It's something that's literally going to sit in your house, going to collect dust. I mean, that to me is when I decided, you know what? It's time to stop. This isn't what I want in my life. What I wanted wasn't being answered by going to the store and spending the money.
I agree, and I have to dust it. So, yeah, there's lots of stuff to dust when you buy. But I think for me, mindfulness was a big role. So taking a moment, I pause and ask, what am I buying? Why am I buying this? Do I really need it? What am I hoping it'll fix? And let's be real, we're gay, so if it's got glitter and shiny, we want it.
Let's get even more real. Yes, he does do that, everyone. I've been to the store with him literally standing there looking at something going, do I really want this? Oh, where would I put it? Yeah, he does do that.
Well, yeah, I think when you talk yourself through it and you really just take a moment to resist the impulse urge to just grab it and you think, what's it really going to do for me? Then I go, I got to clean this thing. That kind of just moves you right along. So I think when I started focusing on what really matters, like connection, nature, and creativity, and the important things in life, then I realized I didn't need that much to be happy. So, Denny, do you think we can ever fully escape the pull of consumerism? Or is it something that we as a society have to keep working on?
I think we can pull from it. It's going to be a constant practice. Like any addiction, you can't just stop cold turkey. We live in a culture that thrives on making us feel like we're not enough without more. Mm-hmm. But the more we focus on what truly matters, the less consumerism has over us.
Yeah.
And Dan, what's one thing you'd say to someone who's starting to realize they're caught in this trap?
Go small. Begin by noticing when you're buying out of habit or emotion rather than necessity. And try to replace those moments with something meaningful. Call a friend, go for a walk, or just sit with your feelings instead of shopping them away. What would you tell them, Denny?
Well, first off, like you were saying in that last phrase, if it is something you really need, then yes, by all means, get it. If it's something you need to sustain your life,
Oh, absolutely.
get it.
Yeah.
If it's just because Matilda down the road got a big screen TV that's hanging on her wall, and you still have one of them little pocket antenna models sitting in your bedroom, if it works, why change it out? But I would also want them to, just remind yourself that the joy is already within you. That's what our whole purpose of this show really is to remind you that you are worthy of joy, you are worthy of happiness. It doesn't come from buying every material item out there.
That's true.
It doesn't come, as in our next episode is going to touch on, it doesn't come in a bottle. It doesn't come wrapped up in paper that you'll light up and drag on.
Yeah.
Joy and happiness is already within you. You don't need to buy it. You just need to realize it's there.
Yeah. I think I can speak for us, me personally, us when we first got together, we lived in the most decrepit place that you can imagine.
The windows were screwed shut.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And I think when we were able to get out, that was us. We were trying to erase that part of our life, if that makes sense. Like, we didn't have anything when we got together. We both came from bad relationships. And I mean, I had a good job, he had a good job, and we were slowly making it. But I think what it was is we had so much broken crap that we just bought. But I think we were happy, though. We were happy.
We were. But on top of that, we went from a smaller space to a bigger house.
Well, yeah.
So we did have to fill it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then we just didn't quit. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Joy Without Justification. If this kind of hit home with you, we'd love to hear how you're stepping away from consumerism and finding joy in your life. Connect with us on social media or drop us a message at joywithoutjustification@gmail.com.
Yep. And like I said, our next episode is going to be touching on chemical dependency. Yeah.
That's easy for you to say.
Yep. Chemical dependency and how it is not the answer. So we hope to see you all there. Remember, joy doesn't live in things, it lives in you. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep finding joy in the moments that matter. Peace out.